So let's take a look at a case out of the small city of Derrida, Louisiana, where a quiet April evening was completely shattered by a 911 call. At first glance, it looked like a tragic domestic incident, but it quickly unraveled into this calculated story of deception with 4 young children caught right in the middle. We're going to break down how what seemed like a straightforward confession was actually hiding a cold-blooded lie.
Sometimes it's just a few words that tell you everything. Is she alive? No, she's not. That's what an officer heard from a neighbor at the scene. And those words just cut through all of the initial confusion and confirm the absolute grim reality of what had just happened inside that house. So how did this all unfold? Well, it all kicked off with a 911 call, and it was one of those calls that was unsettling right from the very first second.
The dispatcher was immediately on high alert. The caller's voice was just eerily calm. He reported a crime, gave the address, and then just hung up. That kind of composure is a huge red flag, It sent officers racing to the scene, and they had absolutely no idea what they were about to walk into.
When Officer Sanford got there, he wasn't met by an adult, but by 2 little girls. They told him their mom was locked in a room and something was burning on the stove. And in this just incredible act of courage, the oldest daughter had already gotten her younger siblings out of the house and over to a neighbor's, making sure they were safe before anyone even knew the true horror inside. So inside, police find a woman with a single gunshot wound to her head. But the guy who called 911 was gone, and there weren't any obvious signs of a fight. This left them with a massive question right at the start. Was this a suicide, or did they have a murderer on the run? As the investigation kicked off, the very first step was just to identify the victim. And for one of the detectives on the scene, this case was about to get really personal.
The victim was identified as 28-year-old Ashley Fish, and right away, the lead detective, Detective Cooley, realized he knew her. They'd actually graduated from the same high school. All of a sudden, this wasn't just another case file. This was about finding justice for someone he knew.
Okay, so detectives start putting together a timeline, and things start clicking into place really, really fast. Around 5 p.m., a neighbor sees Ashley with her boyfriend, says everything seemed totally normal. But then, just before 7 p.m., a Ring camera catches a black truck speeding away from the house. At that exact same time, her ex-husband, John, completely loses contact with her. That's an incredibly tight window for something to have gone so wrong. It didn't take long for neighbors and friends to identify the driver of that truck. It was Ashley's 34-year-old boyfriend, Tyler Durachovsky. So, boom, he's immediately the prime suspect. But just as police were gearing up for a manhunt, the whole investigation took another bizarre turn. You see, Tyler didn't go on the run. He didn't try to hide. Instead, just a little while after that first mysterious 911 call, he made a second one himself. In that call, Tyler calmly told the dispatcher, "I need to turn myself in. I shot somebody." He gave them his location in an empty parking lot and just waited for them to come and arrest him. For the officers, his cooperation was just baffling. Why flee a crime scene, leaving 4 children alone, only to turn yourself in minutes later? It just didn't add up. Once he's in custody, Tyler lays out a very specific story. He claimed that during an argument, Ashley pulled a gun on him. He said they struggled for it, and in all the chaos, the gun just went off. His story basically set the entire path for the investigation. It was now his word, his claim of self-defense, against whatever the hard evidence could prove. So the huge question was, did Tyler's story of a life-or-death struggle actually hold up? To figure that out, detectives started talking to the people who knew the couple best. And almost immediately, the first crack in his story appeared, and it came from Ashley herself. Just moments before she died, she had texted her ex-husband, John, a simple message, "He won't leave." Well, that completely contradicts Tyler's claim that he was the one trying to get away. It sounds like Ashley was the one who felt trapped. Ashley's family painted an even darker picture of him. They pretty much described Tyler as a walking red flag. One family member remembered thinking his interest in a single mom with 4 kids was deeply suspicious right from the get-go. They all felt he was bad news, and they had even warned Ashley about him. And the depth of his lie became crystal clear when detectives found love letters Tyler had written to his ex-wife. He wasn't trapped with Ashley. He was actively trying to get back together with his ex, writing things like, "I hope you're ready for when we meet again." During his interrogation, Tyler himself revealed his cruelest tactic. He admitted that when things got rocky, he threatened to tell Ashley's ex-husband that he'd been staying over. Why? because he knew this violated her custody agreement and could make her lose her children. This wasn't a man feeling guilty. This was a man willing to use anything and everything as a weapon to control her.
Now, back at the crime scene, the physical evidence wasn't just poking holes in Tyler's story. It was about to completely demolish it. 3 key pieces of evidence really sealed his fate. First, her phone. Ashley was found clutching it in her dominant right hand. You can't be holding a phone and struggling over a gun with that same hand. Second, and this is just chilling, her hair. Forensic analysts found strands of Ashley's hair inside the barrel of the gun. That, combined with the fractures in her skull, proved the weapon was pressed hard against her head when it was fired. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a struggle. It was an execution. With the truth laid bare by all this evidence, the case moved from the investigation to the courtroom, with one single goal: securing justice for Ashley and her 4 daughters. Even though he stuck to his self-defense claim at trial, the state's case was just overwhelming. They laid out the forensic evidence, pointed out all the holes in his story, and the jury saw right through the deception.
Tyler Durakovsky was found guilty on all charges: second-degree murder and 4 counts of child abandonment. He was sentenced to life in prison, with absolutely no possibility of parole. And amidst all this tragedy, the focus really remains on the future of Ashley's 4 little girls. They're now being raised by their grandparents, and the community has rallied around them to help them heal and try to build a new life. This case really leaves you with a chilling thought. Tyler tried to construct this perfect narrative of self-defense, right? He confessed, he acted calm, he had an answer for everything. But in the end, the truth is always found in the little details he just couldn't control. A phone clutched in a hand, a strand of hair inside a gun barrel, and the last words of a mother who just wanted him to leave.